matches of all time. Um, Here we go, SummerSlam 1996, which took place on August the 18th, 1996, from the Gund Arena in Cleveland, Ohio, which was very new at the time. Anyway, take a look at the packaging. Here we see Shawn Michaels and Vader on the cover, and then on the back of it, we see Undertaker, Mankind, Psycho Sid, the British Bulldog, and others right there on the back of it. Now, this was, a decent event. I mean, not one of the best, but there were actually a few matches that saved the event from being a total disaster. Now, to kick things off, we have Savio Vega going one-on-one with Owen Hart, and we have Jim Ross, Mr. Perfect, and Vince McMahon on commentary. And, this opening match between Owen Hart and Savio Vega, a pretty action-packed matchup. One of the best matches of the night, aside from the double main events, which came later in the night. A pretty good back and forth match. We see the in-ring agility of Owen Hart, and we see the toughness, the fightingness of Savio Vega. Um, anyway, the ending came when Owen Hart pulled off his cast and nailed Savio Vega with it right in the head, and the referee didn't see it. A pretty bad ending to a good match, which the ending could have been much better. That's all I can say. But then after which we see Owen Hart apply the sharpshooter, and Savio was forced to submit. And your winner of the opening matchup at SummerSlam, Owen Hart. A pretty good match with a bad ending. Could have went down differently. As good as an athlete of that Owen Hart was, they could have booked him to win fair and square sometimes, even though he was a heel. But anyway, I guess that's just the way the writers wanted it. And then after the match, we seen Savio Vega um, on his way back to the locker room, then being attacked by Justin Hawk Bradshaw. And Justin Hawk Bradshaw badmouthed Savio Vega and berated him. He said things that I cannot mention. It will seem, ethnically wrong for me to do so. But anyway, that's just to build up a later feud that was to come. Okay, and then the next matchup, the very first fatal four-way match, to my knowledge, in WWF history, with the Godwinns versus the Rockers versus the Body Donnas versus the Smoking Guns in an elimination tag team match. And I guess the crowd in Cleveland was really not into this match whatsoever. A really horrible, horrible match. I mean, at this time in WWE, there weren't that many stellar tag teams as there were probably maybe 5, 6 years before that. But anyway, that's another story. Anyway, the ending comes when the last two teams, the Godwinns and the Smoking Guns, remain, and then I cannot remember the ending, but I know the Smoking Guns cheated to retain the Tag Team Championship with a cheap shot behind the referee's back. Anyway, your winner and still Tag Team Champions, the Smoking Guns. After the match, we seen the Smoking Guns manager, Sunny, unveil a huge, large poster of herself, and then we heard Mr. Perfect on commentary saying there's nothing wrong with it when you're good and you know it. So anyway, the Smoking Guns retain their tag team titles with the very conceited Sunny in their corner, bragging about herself. Alright, next matchup, Psycho Sid going one-on-one with the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. As much as a fan I am of Davey Boy Smith, and Psycho Sid was not the greatest in-ring worker, but I have to give him credit. He did, try his best every time he got in there. This match was just pure rubbish. I mean, pure garbage. A lot of rest holds in between the match. A lot of slow spots. We've seen a lot of kicking and punching from Psycho Sid. We've seen a lot of rest holds from Davey Boy as well. I mean, the British Bulldog has had some tremendous, tremendous classic matches, but him and Sid, I guess they didn't gel well together. Anyway, the ending comes when Psycho Sid wins with the powerbomb in a short 5 or 6 minute match, something like that. Not your best British Bulldog match, which is very rare that you would find any match of the British Bulldog that is not a classic one in WWE, and this is indeed one of them. Anyway, Psycho Sid is your winner. Okay, and then we had Goldust with Marlena in his corner, taking on Wildman Marc Mero with Sable in his corner. And a pretty good, awesome matchup. I think this match was a little better than the last two matches that was on the card. They got an ample amount of time. They both showed what kind of offense or what kind of defense that they had, and to my knowledge, this is the first time that the shooting star press was ever seen in WWF. We seen Marc Mero go to the top rope, and Jim Ross called it on commentary the Wild Thing, and just a tremendous pop from the audience when Marc Mero pulled out that move. I mean, the way he got up in the air and just landed, it was something at that time no one has probably ever seen before, being a WWF fan. Anyway, the ending came when Marc Mero was distracted by Marlena, I believe, and then we see Mick Foley do a run-in by the ringside trying to distract Sable. Anyway, Goldust gets the win with the curtain call suplex, and Goldust is your winner. After the match, they brawl, and they fight some more, and eventually we see them eventually go back to the locker room. Anyway, Goldust is your winner in this matchup. And then we have Jake the Snake Roberts taking on Jerry the King Lawler. And oh my goodness, this has to be one of the worst matches in SummerSlam history. I mean, I call this one of my favorite events for some reasons, but this match was not indeed one of them. I mean, they probably stayed in that ring for about 5 minutes. I mean, at this stage in Jake the Snake Roberts' career, he didn't have a lot left in the tank. As much as I love Jake and seeing him perform in the late 80s and early 90s, he didn't have it. I mean, to me personally, with all due respect, he didn't have any business being in a WWE ring around this time, as much as I respect him. Anyway, Jerry Lawler gets the win, and before the matchup, by the way, he cracks all these jokes, which indeed hits close to home, about Jake's alcoholism, things of that nature. And then we see Jerry Lawler bring this big bottle out to the ringside, a big blown up bottle of wine or some shit like that. And then after the match, we seen him get a bottle of whiskey and pour it down Jake the Snake Roberts' throat. By the way, Lawler got the win after he poked Jake in the throat with one of those bottle of alcoholic beverages that they had at ringside. But anyway, Lawler gets the win, and then after the match, he attempted to pour whiskey down Jake's throat, which he did do, I might add. And later on, as time went by, we found out that was legitimately whiskey. It was not in kayfabe anyway, not whiskey. It was indeed actually whiskey or alcohol that he poured down Jake's throat. And then we see Mark Henry interfered, who was making his pay-per-view debut, sitting in commentary, and he took the bottle away from Lawler and helped Jake to the rings, back to the dressing room. Anyway, your winner, Jerry the King Lawler, by cheating. Okay, and then the next matchup was the Boiler Room Brawl with Mankind and the Undertaker. Oh my goodness, this has to be one of SummerSlam's greatest, most unique matches. What a matchup. This match from start to finish is a 30-minute classic that everyone has to see, and the ending was just booked very, very brilliantly. We seen these guys fight in the Boiler Room. We seen Mankind thrown off a ladder. We seen Undertaker doused with hot coffee. We seen everything backstage. We seen Undertaker get whacked with a pipe, with a 2x4 across the back. I mean, we seen it all. We seen so much in this Boiler Room Brawl, and they did not stop when they made their way to the arena. And the stipulation was whoever would get possession of the urn would be the victor. And eventually, as we all know, Paul Bearer had turned heel on Undertaker and whacked him with the urn, allowing Mankind to get the victory and gain possession of the urn. Your winner of the first ever most memorable Boiler Room Brawl in WWF history, Mankind. It was just brilliant. I mean, if you haven't seen this matchup, please do so. I'm going to put the link in the description box below so you can take a look at that. One of the best in SummerSlam history. And then we had an interview with Todd Pennegill interviewing Farouk, who had just came to the WWE a few weeks before, and talks about how he took out Ahmed Johnson and he's going to be the new Intercontinental Champion and such. Nothing special there. Sonny accompanied him to the ring, by the way. Okay, and then we had the WWF Championship Match. Shawn Michaels taking on the man they call Vader, the Mastodon, managed by Jim Cornette. And Shawn with Jose Lothario in his corner, as we all know. This has to be why Vader is one of the best big men in the wrestling business. I mean, Vader doesn't get as much credit as people should give him. To me, he's one of the, next to Bam Bam Bigelow, he's one of the best agile big men in the wrestling business, I should say. And you know, this match was just an indication. I mean, any wrestler that worked with Shawn Michaels, you know, in a ring looked totally good. But I mean, Vader also had the ability to make his opponents look good. And I mean, he made Michaels look very, very good and strong all throughout this matchup. Yeah, first the match ended on a countout. Then Michaels retained the title. Then the match was restarted. Then we seen Jim Cornette get involved in there, and it ended in a disqualification, after which the match was for a third time ordered to continue, and then Michaels got the win with a moonsault off the top rope. Can you believe the sweet chin music did not do Vader in? That just goes to show you how much of a monster, how much of a mastodon Vader was. Yeah, so anyway, Michaels does a moonsault off the top rope and lands on Vader and gets the win. 1, 2, 3, and the crowd in Cleveland, Ohio just goes absolutely nuts. Your winner and still WWF champion, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. Yeah, so SummerSlam 96, you know, one of the, you know, I guess a pretty good event. I mean, those two last matches saved it from being a total disaster. But you know, what can you get from every WWF pay-per-view? You can't have them all. Yeah, so this is one SummerSlam I do recommend if you can find it on Amazon.com or wherever, you know, wherever you can find VHS tapes. I doubt anywhere sells VHS tapes these days, but yeah, one of the, you know, okay SummerSlams. I guess I don't want to say best, because there were a couple of matches that weren't, you know, weren't even up there. But anyway, the Michaels Vader match saved the event from being a total disaster, and the Boiler Room Brawl saved the event from being a total disaster. A pretty, you know, decent event, I'd have to say. Alright guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you all think, and I'll talk to you guys later. 1.